We represent so many different intersections within our world. And we read these fun, colorful, and engaging books while we ourselves as drag performers are fun, engaging, and colorful. And we find that it helps the kids to focus in on content, but also learn, so they're learning literacy, they're learning about the world.
It's Razzle Dazzle Radio, and welcome. It is LGBTQIA plus History Month, and we are going to learn so much more with our fabulous guest, Chris Hefty, who is, I'm quite sure, more than one person, serves in so many roles. But of course, in the arts, you love what you do and you do what you love. So Chris also is another personality of Billy Nate, and a drag queen, a singer, a songwriter, community activist, and works with Howard County Pride as the CFO and is now the president of PFLAG. And we're going to hear more about all those roles in just a minute. But just in case you wonder what they do in their free time, they are a small business owner of a store that you got to go to. It's Eastern Coral, top floor at the mall, down at the Nordstrom's wing, and buy lots of fun, beautiful gems, and of course, to include coral. All right. And along with that, Bella strives to represent their community and is deemed the Queen of Howard County. So to let you know how many personalities Chris has, I was confused, actually asked him twice on both of his personalities to be on the show. So luckily he said yes to both of them. So Chris, I'm going to stop talking. Tell us about, let's start with PFLAG, how you got involved with that, and let everyone know what that stands for. So we'll do a little history of you along with the LGBTQIA plus.
Sure. Well, yeah, so I am currently the president of the PFLAG Columbia Howard County chapter. We are under the national umbrella, but we do run our own programs and support services, educational training sessions, as well as working in the realm of advocacy and representation. So I have been working with PFLAG for quite a number of years, since around 2019. And I have done various things, partially just volunteered. And then other times it's been like running the Rainbow Youth and Allies group as one of the group facilitators, helping mentoring LGBTQI plus youth. Currently, I am the president chapter, so I will be leading this organization so that we can continue to make strides within the community, bettering people's lives, offering more resources. To answer your question about what we stand for, PFLAG is Parents and Family and Friends for Lesbians and Gays. In the past, it was just Parents for Lesbians and Gays, but we've kind of broadened the narrative to fit more to what we do currently. But historically, PFLAG is the first real, national chartered organization for LGBTQI plus rights. It started out with parents in support of their gay children, bisexual children, and they would be seen protesting against inequalities and discriminations within the workplace, within the social marriages and things like this. They marched in pride parades. They've been right along the fight for well over 50 years. And they continue to do so. I'm happy to be able to take a leadership role within our community to help maintain that history and keep the ship moving forward.
Yes, well, I think that as we talked about before the show, you had a kind of moment where you were riding along with your brother and you wanted to do something for the community. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I was born in New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl, but
all right.
I mostly lived in Howard County, Maryland, because we moved here when I was like 4 or 5, something like that. So, but we go to New Jersey all the time. I was driving with my brother, because my brother likes when I drive, because he's like, I don't have to spend gas money when we go up there. And so we were just talking about the community. My brother's also gay. So we were both, have a lot of things in common, and we talk a lot. So we were just talking about what we wanted to see in the community here in Howard County in particular. And the thing that I really wanted was a community center. So, we need a place where we can always go, not just a one-off event or a small group. It can be something that can cater to so many different people, lots of different needs, and support the community in a much more hands-on and broader approach. And I was talking about things that I wanted to see with it and whatnot. After we got to our destination, New Jersey, seeing family, I was telling my own father about that. My father decided to reach out to Jamel Howard, who was the president of PFLAG for many years, and didn't even tell me he reached out. I just got an email from Jamel and was like, "Hey, I think your dad, I believe, was the one that emailed us and mentioned about your idea for this community center." And I wanted to say I had the same kind of idea. So I'd love to work with you. And, we're always looking for more dedicated people to, help us with our missions. So that's where it really kind of got me involved. I started, being a vendor at certain events, and then I got involved with Howard County Pride because Howard County Pride was born through PFLAG chapter here. And now they've split off to be separate entities. But, that was what we did was PFLAG kind of helped give birth to it. Right. And so I have my hands in Howard County Pride as a CFO because I've continued to help maintain Howard County Pride, and then maintained, different roles within PFLAG at the same time, while also working here at the store, making jewelry, being a salesperson, being a business owner. And then, of course, my drag. My drag kind of came from it as well. We would do fundraisers and fun events, and I would always see the drag performers we'd hire and be like, I want to do that. And so eventually I decided I would. And so I started my drag journey along with that. And they all just sort of melded together, but also kind of took their own little paths, like little side paths. So they're like side missions sometimes, but they all kind of all filter back into the same origins and same mission.
Yeah, I love that you pay attention and that one thing just connects to another. And I kind of live that story too. And I just love it because I love what I do, like I said, as you do, and you represent it so well and being a community activist. And I just love the story that your father and your brother and everybody was so supportive, and how you have helped to build this because it's just so important. So let's go back to your drag queen work for just a minute. So let me say that I've known you and seen you in a number of different ways, as you know. And so last year in a festival over at Colored Burst Park, you were there, and I believe that you were doing some kind of storytelling with children. I was just really touched by that and had known that had been going on. There were some other storytelling drag queens at the Enoch Pratt in Baltimore, and was always searching for one to talk to. So at any rate, there you were. So tell us how that evolved, because I think that's such a great way to educate and enlighten children.
It is. So I got involved because I was working with an organization of like drag brunch and show producers called Absolutely Dragulous. And they had gotten a message from Drag Story Hour DMV in search of people to help support as like a, not exactly a counter protest, but like, just a wall between hate. So they wanted people to come out into Kensington Park area in Maryland for a library event that a drag performer was going to be reading at, that was going to be protested by the Proud Boys. And they were just, saying, we want not to have people interact with these people, but just bring like rainbow flags and umbrellas and create a nice little barrier so that the families and these kids don't have to see the hate as they're walking into the building. They just see the pretty colors. So I said, sure, I'll do it. But I decided to get into drag for it for free, even though I usually charge to get into drag. I said, I'm going to just represent all the more. And since I was already there in drag, I got to talk to some of the directors and people that were all hands on deck for that event because of the point of contention that was taking place. And since the other drag performer was busy reading, news people started coming out and were talking. And since I was in drag and was like a good person to speak to the way it looks and the way, a drag performer feels as a fellow performer in a situation like that, I decided I would talk with people about it. And then I ended up talking with the directors there and say, hey, I want to get involved. I'd like to do more of this too. I think this is great. So I got into their circle and started taking gigs through them. And so I've been able to do things in a Pratt Free Library. I've been able to work with so many different organizations and small businesses, libraries, churches to produce these shows and little kids events, family-friendly events where we read great books. We read books that are equitable and fully included. They represent various identities. It's not all about LGBTQI plus identities. It's about racial identity, about gender equality. It's about different types of familial households and their construction, single family households with one parent or a guardian of some sort that's perhaps not your biological birth giver. And then, various same sex couples or people of mixed race or mixed culture. We represent so many different intersections within our world. And we read these fun, colorful, and engaging books while we ourselves as drag performers are fun, engaging, and colorful. And we find that it helps the kids to focus in on content, but also learn, so they're learning literacy, they're learning about the world, the diverse world that we live in. And honestly, they have like no questions. They are just like
Right.
so sweet. They're not like, I've never had anyone say like two daddies. They're just like, cool. So like it just shows to me how hate and ignorance is a learned thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I just love that you're doing that. And of course, it just speaks to inclusivity to these children in the community we're all living in all kinds of various worlds and situations. And again, they're not born with any role. That's the role we give them. So, you're like, yeah. And so the whole acceptance piece, and as you said, it's not just about the LGBTQIA plus population, but it's about all the many different various family situations that we have now. And thank goodness for it. Because, when people are like, well, why is all this stuff coming up now? This stuff was already there. It's just we're opening it up and finally living our truth and being open to acceptance for everyone. And there's no more beautiful theme than you bringing light into a dark place where you began, what you just said, and it's the old rising up. So I'm going to say the Michelle Obama, when you go low, we go high. And that's, it's
yes.
That's a beautiful mission. And I love that is what supports everything that you're doing, so, and that's why it's working, because it's coming from your heart.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about so now let's go into showbiz. So, all right, the art of drag. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about that. So there's quite an artistic side to it, right? So
absolutely is, yes.
Okay, so how do you create your queen?
Everyone's story is different. Mine kind of stems from my other work and wanting to use it as another platform to further the voice. But also, I am also really into music production and singing. So I wanted to make my drag character and persona be that kind of like recording artist, pop star, indie kind of a person that's, just a local performer. And then, I have a lot of fun with makeup and beauty products and the wigs and the outfits. And I create characters based off of the music that I go with and the songs that I'm doing. I tell stories. I live people's experiences out loud for them so they can be validated and heard. And I do it just because it makes me feel so great, and it also lets me kind of channel into parts of me that in the past and growing up, I wasn't allowed to invest in or even entertain, because it would just be seen as like, well, that's not what boys do. That's not what you're supposed to do. It's like celebrating that part of myself and owning it.
It's fun.
Oh, so yes. And it's fun.
How long does it take you to get all geared up?
Well, now that I've been doing this for about 5 years, maybe about 6 even, it takes me maybe like an hour between hair, makeup, and outfitting. It used to take me longer, but I've gotten much quicker. But it depends on what I'm doing too. If I'm doing something much more complex, more intricate, then of course it'll take a little longer.
Well, I have great respect for that process. And I can even share with you that for a while I was doing some work in Baltimore as Baltimore Hun, and I had to wear a huge hairpiece and lashes and lots of makeup and lots of jewelry, and it was just wild fun. But I used to have a hangover, is what I called it, the next morning, because my head hurt, my eyes hurt.
Oh yeah, I get that.
So people don't know. And then not to mention that there's a whole art form about learning how to walk in high heels, right?
Oh yes, there's an attitude and an energy you have to elude and exude, but then there's also just a little bit of skill, especially the higher you go with those heels. But
Yep, yep, yep. The higher you go, the closer to heaven, as we used to like to say. So, yep.
yes.
And so, may I say, when I saw you on the stage over at the Chrysalis at the Pride Festival on Sunday, you rocked those shoes. Oh, you had
Oh
on
yeah, those are
an
great.
amazing pair of booty heels. And yeah, you had swag for sure.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
and there's only one word, and this is what I always tell my students too. How do you get good at something? One word, practice, right? So
Practice,
you must
exactly.
have done a lot of that. So, okay, so are there any kind of shows or any kind of workshops that you're going to be doing with children that we could look forward to seeing you in coming up?
Nothing on the books yet, but I will definitely drop links and share anything when I do have things coming in. I'm kind of gearing up for the holiday season at my store, so that's kind of where my head's going to be at until probably next year. But I might
Yep.
pepper in a couple other things.
Yep, absolutely. Now, if someone wanted to get involved with PFLAG, because I'm quite sure that you can use all the support you can get with that, how could they do that?
So they can reach out to us at info@howardcountypride.org,
Okay.
or they could also reach out to info@pflaghoco.org. So depending on where they want to go, if they want to help with volunteering and producing an event, or if they want to work on advocacy work, educational work, or support services work, then they can choose one or the other. PFLAG being more of those advocacy and support programs, while Howard County Pride being more of that fun entertainment. We still do lots of fundraisers and things like that to support the community, but it's like the two sides to it, right? The fun and games versus the work and the heavy lifting stuff too. Each one is
Exactly.
super fulfilling. It just depends on where you want to be in.
Well, you're on all of them. So,
Yes.
I mean, so also let's not forget top of everything you do. Somehow you learned how to speak Cantonese. Is that true?
Mandarin, yes. So
Mandarin. What am
I
I saying?
my
Right.
Cantonese
Mandarin.
is
Okay.
awful. I am so sorry to those Yan people and like other people that speak Cantonese in the Canton region and Guangzhou area, like all that. But yeah, I speak Mandarin and I speak Sichuanese. So like those are the two variations of Chinese languages that you can find in mainland that I am good with. I learned that through working at the store I currently own because my second mom, who's really someone that adopted me non-legally, but like took me in during some struggles when I was younger and came out and was facing non-acceptance at the time. I think my parents came around later, but it did take a minute. And she took me under her wing. I got close, and through that I learned her language and culture, and we bonded even more. And so it's something I still hold on to, and I get to enjoy experiencing queer culture also through that, because I get to meet people that would feel closed off from the English speaking queer people otherwise. So I get to bridge some gaps there, which is awesome.
That is amazing. Now, how long with, I know it must have been a process and that you heard her speaking it and kind of learned by being around it, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, practice makes perfect, and immersion is super important, but also just your attitude towards it. Do you really want it? Do you really
Yep.
want to learn this? If you're
Yep.
not into it, you're not going to learn it. I tried to push my younger brother to learn it when he was going to HCC because I was just like, honestly, Chinese is so much simpler. Like people think it's not easy to learn because of they hear pronunciation is like scary and like reading the characters is scary to them. But
Yep.
grammar is like nothing. There's no conjugation. There's very few variations to like how you would say words, except for dialects and things. So like honestly, as long as you learn those mechanics and then just focus on vocabulary, like you can get it down. Like, but French and Spanish, you got gender forms, you got conjugations, you got all these different things that I can't even keep up in my head. If I didn't speak English already, I live in here, I think I wouldn't be able to learn this language. But I could learn Chinese because it really works for my brain.
Oh my God. Okay, so say practice makes perfect for us and Mandarese.
Yes. A practice makes perfect in
Yeah,
Mandarin.
say that. Yeah, yeah. Give us an
Yeah.
example.
多联系多完美。
Well, I don't know if you're correct. I'm kidding. That that is so fabulous. You are such a wonderful example of someone that is just really a true activist as written on your bio, but you truly are. And you're such a great example. You walk your walk, you talk your talk. And I love that you, of course, remember the days when you know, your troubled times. And I'm happy that the manager of your store took you in. And, you know,
Yes.
everybody needs somebody like that no matter what. So now you're giving it back and paying it forward, Chris. Yep.
Exactly.
I am honored to know you, and we will make sure and post anything when you have some performances coming up here at Razzle Dazzle. We want to support that in the community. And yes, so please keep us posted as we go
Sure.
on. And if you want to find out who Chris is, and they are a real person, go head up to the mall and visit at Eastern Coral. Maybe you might need to buy something from him too. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. It's been a true pleasure. And I do want to say, and Chris, you might be interested just in case you get a second to go out anywhere in the midst of all your performing. But I do want to tell everyone about some upcoming events that are just amazing here in our fabulous community. And that is that at the college, we have a concert series, and they're faculty, student, and guest artists all together performing. We have a full 2 galleries of art for everyone to see. And children's theater is going to return in December. And it's a story called Wake Up, Brother Bear. Maybe, Chris, you could get involved with the children's theater at some point with some of the work
Nice.
you do too. You know, you never know. Okay, we have the Blossoms 25 countywide art show. Now, that's not coming up for a while, but it's something that you want to keep your ears pitched for. And we have a celebration of the arts, and that is coming up on November 2nd. That's a not to be missed. And that is a combination of all the arts. And of course, we have the Rising Star Awards, where we pick someone, the audience helps pick someone, and they get a very healthy donation for a scholarship. We have chamber music. And here is something I'm very proud to tell you about, and that is the Hoco Palizzo. I love to say that word. Let me say it again. Hoco Palizzo. And that is their 50th anniversary season. And there are many events, and I'm hoping that we'll speak to Tara Hart, who is absolutely the head and the queen of everything with that group, keeps it going. I hope we're going to speak to her on our next show as well. But check out all HCC's events at howardcc.edu/Horowitz Center. Other local events outside of the college include Toby's. And Toby's is presently doing the Addams Family. Try to catch it before it changes. Super fun show. Characters are amazing. They are really played right to the T. And then for the holiday season, it's the Sound of Music. So who doesn't love the Sound of Music? And that'll begin on November 15th. And right after that, for the new year, it will be 9 to 5. What a fun way to start off the new year. Drag On Extravaganza is coming and may be done by the time we film this show, but we need to mention that it's a fabulous way to get enlightened, to be on a panel discussion, to see and hear from other drag queens and kings and all the variations of, and it's right here at HCC. So you don't want to miss, you probably will miss it, but check it out next year if you do. And dance, November 8th and 9th, the dance showcase, and it is going to be something. Rumor has it that there's going to be an original film and some tap dance, which of course is my total favorite. And if that's not enough, there's a play called Ride the Cyclone. Now, already doesn't that sound like something you want to do? And it's a pretty catchy, kitschy, camp, hilarious, outlandish musical. And you just have to see it to believe it. And it's a very short run. So I'm told you got to get your tickets early, the November 24th date. And lastly, if you don't want to go out, there is a film discussion series that you can watch and do on Zoom. But if you do want to come out, come to the Columbia Film Society, and that is right at the college as well. So, wow, lots of razzle dazzle. Chris, you are full of razzle dazzle. And again, so grateful to have you here in the county doing all your good advocacy work. and entertaining and beyond. So till next time, it's Judy Templeton on Razzle Dazzle Radio.
Thanks for listening to Dragon Podcasts. Connect with us at podbean.com/dragonpodcasts.